What's up guys, it's Canadian, and this week we have another team fight spotlight with Temple Storm. This time we are looking at the Dallas Fuel versus the Boston Uprising. Now this is map 3.1 of this matchup, and we are going to be looking a lot at Mickie on the Brigitte. He is the difference maker throughout this team fight. Now this is a pretty crazy team fight. There are 12 ultimates used in this team fight. The situation is that the Dallas Fuel have the point and they only have one ultimate right now. They have Unkko's Transcendence. And the Uprising have both of their tank ultimates to try and retake the point. Now, like I said, there's 12 ultimates, so every single person is going to build up their ultimates in this fight. I'm going to go ahead and let the fight play out once, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
On the retreat as well. AKM once a famed McCree player early on in the days of Overwatch.
And no doubt. Ultimates for Boston, though, as they try to retake. They are at 99% right now. Dallas is going to have to play this one really safe if they want to be able to challenge with their own ultimates. Got to build those and not die in the defense. Kalios a little bit low. Ooh, he gets demech, but he's got the self to start to get back again. It's back in the mech. And now Mickie pops that rally, going in onto Gamsu, pops that primal rage. Gamsu trying to knock Mickie off the edge, but he doesn't get the angle. Mickie backing away, just trying to get more armor on his allies before they re-engage. There goes Gamsu. Now Seagull with a crucial kill for Dallas. 90% now for Dallas Fuel. It's going to be 99 again. Kelix gets Gamsu back up again. They protected him with that Transcendence. AKM, no kills with the Deadeye, but mistakes finishes him off. Oh, and Striker comes into the barrage too. Dallas trying to respond. Mickie just trying to keep Gamsu out of the fight for as long as he possibly can. Single-handedly battling these two tanks. Had a bit of healing help with it. Ooh, Kelix on the run. Unkko gets him. It's a support battle. And Dallas is coming out on top. They might actually do this. They've got the point right now too. They don't even need to flip it back. OG is zoning out. Aim got Striker can't get there. And that's
Alright guys, so that was the team fight. As you saw, Mickie on the Brigitte got a lot of camera time there because he was doing so much. Maybe not dealing a lot of damage, maybe not dealing a lot of kills, but he was drawing a lot of attention, which let the rest of his team kind of carry this fight. So let's go ahead and really get into it. So like I said, the Dallas Fuel have one ultimate. They've got the Transcendence, and the Uprising have both of the tank ultimates. And I was going to play this out. Really quick, I want to talk about the composition for the Dallas Fuel versus the Uprising. The Uprising are running Pharah, who is very strong on Garden on Oasis. And they also have two dive tanks. However, you know, kind of a big deal in the Overwatch community right now is that Brigitte is really, really good versus dive. And when you combo that with McCree, you have two pretty, you know, decently short cooldown stuns to stop the tanks from diving in. So because we have Brigitte and McCree on the Fuel, the Uprising cannot dive in on the backline. You'll see in a second here that AKM is playing inside both of his healers. He is right next to both of them, versus Mickie is trying to like go for a bit of a zone here. So he is hiding. Mickie is breaking line of sight, so the Uprising don't know where he is, and they are afraid to dive on the Fuel, who were kind of holding up in this area to the right hand side. So as we play this fight, you're going to see the Uprising, you know, kind of push into this point. The Pharah is trying to get a lot of value on these grouped up enemies. As you see here, AKM, you know, the tanks are looking over. They don't see Mickie yet. Kalios is like, all right, I see the Mercy. Mercy's right next to McCree. You know, I can't kill McCree if he's getting pocketed by Mercy. You know, that's kind of what's running through Kalios' head here. Mickie still hasn't showed himself. Mickie, by the way, Brigitte tip, he is holding his shield so he can see around this corner without exposing himself, right? That's like, you know, the classic Reinhardt trick, but since Brigitte's shield is so small, you can be really, really sneaky with your lines of sight. So that's how Mickey's able to stand here without being spotted while he has information on the Uprising.
Ultimates for Boston, though, as they try to retake.
So the tanks are considering, they're like, all right, we kind of want to dive in, but we can't dive into McCree, we can't dive into Brigitte, we don't know where Brigitte is. Mickie still hasn't exposed himself, and right here you just have a big cluster of tanks all fighting each other, right? The Dallas Fuel tanks, they can't really dive in onto the Zenyatta because they'll just get wrecked by Widowmaker and Pharah, and Kellex is in the air, so really their best target is to just attack the two enemy tanks, and like I said, for the Uprising, they can't dive into these two because of all the stuns, so all the tanks are just kind of resigned to fight each other. And now this is where Mickie, he exposes himself, and if you see it right there, it was very, very brief, but right here, he stuns Gamsu on the Winston, so that's going to turn this 2v2 tank fight into the Dallas Fuel's tank's favor, because Mickie was this unknown that just appears and, you know, stuns the Winston, which is really important. Now, AKM, you know, maybe communication is lacking there. He doesn't actually get any shots onto a Gamsu during that stun, unfortunately, but Gamsu, you know, he's feeling the hurt. Kalios is feeling hurt as well, because AKM's just landing his shots on Kalios. And this is the first kind of mini victory here for the Fuel. They get out Kalios's self-destruct, which is an ultimate used for the Uprising. Now, Mistakes was going on a flank there. It's called out. AKM pressures Mistakes away, and, you know, really the Fuel are doing a great job protecting their healers, giving them this huge zone to work with that the Uprising just cannot get into. And this is where Mickie really starts to shine. He distracts the tanks for the Uprising so long in this fight, on and off. So both tanks go onto Mickie right here, but Brigitte has a lot of that built-in healing, right? Once she hits anything with her flail, she starts healing herself up. Plus, she's got armor, and Mickey's very close to building up another rally, which makes him even harder to kill. And on top of that, Winston's Tesla cannon is very bad versus armor because it does a lot of little bits of damage, and armor is really good versus that type of damage. So Mickie really isn't any danger here. Brigitte beats Winston, and Brigitte beats D.Va. You'd have to get really outplayed to lose on those, you lose that matchup. So they invest both tanks to try and kill Mickie here. But Mickie, he gets the rally, and he just kites, he just leaves. And because he activates rally, he gets the extra armor, he gets the speed boost, and he's able to run over to the rest of his team, the McCree, the Zenyatta, and the Mercy, and give them all more armor. And now they're going to get a good chunk of armor here, and that armor is going to be taken away immediately by Striker. But this armor served a huge purpose. Instead of, these three being, one shot by the Pharah, they have full HP because they got a ton of armor, or near full HP because they got a ton of armor from Mickie. Like Unko, he's at half here. This was armor. If he didn't have that armor, he would almost be dead. Just to look at that one more time. Right, look at all this armor. He's got 75 armor right there. 100 armor now. He has got 100 armor. And he's got about 125 HP. He would be so weak right now if not for Mickey's armor. So Mickie, really good decision making, really good positioning there to give his supports that armor. Now Seagull picks off Gamsu, which prompts the Uprising to use both support ultimates to res their main tank. Now that's a really big investment from the Uprising, but they have to invest because it's 99-92% fighting on the point right now. So both support ultimates used for the Uprising here in a second. We've already seen Kalios use his ult. Gamsu used Primal Rage and got shut down. Mistakes using the infrared sight. So 5 of the 6 ults here are already used for the Uprising. And on the Fuel side, Harry Hook pops the Valkyrie to kind of just keep his team up while both support ults for the Uprising are going. AKM is about to use the Deadeye and not get any value. He is going to go down to Mistakes actually. And Mickie already used his Rally. That's just kind of an ultimate update. So they're resing Gamsu. They can't kill any of these healers. OGE starts to pressure Mistakes, who's trying to hold that long line of sight into the point. AKM gets taken out by Mistakes. Good shot by him. And that's the first, big kill in this fight. So the Dallas Fuel now at a -1 advantage. Seagull goes down. The Dallas Fuel now at a -2 disadvantage, but it doesn't last long because of some really, really good plays from the Fuel. So Harry Hook in this Valkyrie right now, he goes man mode, pulls out his pistol, and finishes off Striker, which is huge because since this is such a good point for Pharah, if Striker had lived through this barrage, he's just sitting up in the sky pressuring for, the rest of the Fuel because AKM is dead. And the D.Va is dead too, so no one would be contesting, except for Zenyatta maybe, no one would be contesting Striker if he lived through this. So this is a huge kill by Harry Hook. It's so important that he gets this kill onto Striker in order to keep the Fuel's chances alive of capping this point. So, as you saw, OGE was just pushing the stairs over here a second ago, pressuring Mistakes. He he does get Aim God after his Transcendence ends. And this is where we're going to see Unko have just an absolutely ridiculous play. So Unko is in a bit of a weird spot here, and Gamsu sees this as going on a really smart move by Gamsu to attack this support that's out of position. Mickey's not really in a place to help, and his repair pack is on cooldown. So Unko is forced to use his Transcendence, and I watched this a few times. Unko doesn't heal a single person with his Transcendence. He used this just to avoid dying and reposition himself, and he positions himself in such a way to get 2 big kills to really put the nail in the coffin for the Boston Uprising. So Unko is cutting around that pillar, he's running away, Mickey's trying to stop Gamsu chasing him, and then you can see Unko whiz by Mickie here. There goes Unko, and he's going onto the Uprising side, you know, kind of going toward their spawn, which is kind of weird, but Unko, with he's got really good aim on Zen. He ends up picking up Mistakes and Kelix, you know, in the back end of this fight. So off screen, Harry Hook kills Striker like we were talking about, and he is able to res Seagull. So at this point, the Dallas Fuel -2, then at this point it was even, and now at this point the Dallas Fuel are +1 now. So they should have this fight in their favor. They're +1. Every single ultimate has been used. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Basically every single ultimate used now. Every single ultimate down, and a numbers advantage is usually a 1 fight for your team. And Mistakes would have to go huge here and get, you know, a headshot on a couple people, but the Fuel were really playing those sidelines, as you saw, really standing on one hand side of the point, not letting themselves be exposed to Widowmaker's sightlines. So Mickie distracting the Winston, distracting the Diva again, allowing Seagull to get this res because he's distracting those tanks. And it's just, you know, it's basically over from here. Unko, there's the first kill, by the way, on a Mistakes. If you see Unko, you can't see it. Unko is right here. This is Unko right here, all the way on the Uprising's spawn. And Kelix, you know, doesn't see him. Boom, Unko the second kill. It's just the tanks left for the Uprising, and that's game over because you've got 5 members alive for the Dallas Fuel. AKM is coming back from spawn. So Mickie just absolutely insane on this Brigitte, getting so much attention from the tanks, being able to take all that attention, absorb it, and not die, at the same time giving his healers the rally armor so they can survive the aggression from Striker on the Pharah. Just also at the beginning, third-personing that wall with his shield to kind of turn that tank matchup into his team's favor. You know, everything just kind of snowballed from that first stun, as well as, you know, the focus from AKM2 on the tanks, whereas Pharah and Widowmaker were trying to hit the back line. Everyone on the Fuel was smashing the Uprising front line. So the Fuel were kind of on the same page, right? We're going to kill their front line, and then we're going to win this fight. Versus the Uprising, they had a different plan. The tanks were attacking the front line because they couldn't dive the back line of the Fuel, whereas the DPS of the Uprising were trying to attack the back line of the Fuel. So their attention was split, and it kind of cost them this fight. So great play by Mickie, great play by everyone on the Dallas Fuel. It was a really exciting fight to watch. If you guys like this, I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you guys learned something. If you did like, consider giving it a like and subscribing to Temple Storm on Overwatch, where I do make these teamfight spotlights pretty frequently. If you want to check out my own content, my own Canadian content, all the links should be in the description. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you found it helpful, or I'm sorry, I hope you found it was helpful, and I'll see you guys next time. As always, have a good one.
How many ultimates Mickie has had in this series so far? They are on the cusp of a major upset, and Boston, they're in second place right now, but the pack is so tight in the playoff race that if Boston tanks, they still can lose out on playoffs, and especially if they're losing to teams that are out of the playoff race